Today we have NOIAW member Allison Scola, founder and curator of Experience Sicily. She's been named one of the experts for the 2019 New York Times travel show. She's been featured on Rudy Max's World with the Carries, America's #1 travel radio show. And she's lectured about Sicily at the University of Pennsylvania. Allison, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me, Giovanna. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're so glad you're here. You know, we love learning about every part of Italy, and today we'll be talking about Sicily, which is very close to your heart. Is that right?
Yes, for sure. It's in my heart.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, so I can get started if you're
Yeah, tell me about Sicily. Tell me about if you could give me a brief description or history of Sicily, what would you tell someone?
All right, well, I'm going to start here. I have a PowerPoint to share, so
Okay.
I'm sharing that on my screen. Can you see that?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay, great. So we're going to go on a little bit of a journey today, as much as one can from our computer screens. But so this is me. I'm in the Mercato, Antico Mercato in Syracuse, and I'm inviting you to come along to Sicily with me. So, so I'm curious because we have all these people on Facebook watching.
Yes.
Who has been to Sicily? How many of you have been to Sicily? So if you've been to Sicily, I want you to write it into the chat. I can't see it, but Giovanna can, so she'll report back to me. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we'll hear your answers. So, so to give you an idea of what I do, Experience Sicily, or a boutique tour operator. I'm a Sicily specialist and travel designer. I lead small group tours of 12 people and fewer through Sicily. I customize creative itineraries for independent travelers. So if you and your husband want to go, you and your another couple, you want to do something with your family, with your kids, I will customize according to your budget, your dates, etc. I do small groups. So for example, last year, Judy Grimaldi, who is one of our former 3 wise women of NOIAW, she hired me to customize a 2-week trip during Easter for her and 12 of her loved ones for her 70th birthday party. It was awesome. We rented an incredible, beautiful villa for them for the week and I was with them the whole time. And then we were in the countryside for a few days. We had just a magnificent trip. So that's something that I do. And during this time of COVID-19 and uncertainty, this is a great option for you if you want to travel and you can have a closed group that you know everyone that you're traveling with. One of those things includes heritage research and experiences around your heritage. So think about this. This is a question I have coming up for you. If you have heritage in Sicily and the town your family came from, I'm curious to know that. So that's coming up. I'll want to hear from you about that. And I do professional consultation on itineraries that you plan yourself. So you might want that extra special tip, that insider thing, and that's when we get on the phone and we go through your itinerary and give you feedback about whether it's possible to travel from A to B that day and how to drive, etc. So that's something I do. Plus, I do a cannoli crawl in New York City. Giovanna, did you know about the cannoli crawl?
No.
Okay,
but
well,
if you need any expert in desserts, I present myself.
Well, you are welcome to come when we can again, and hopefully in the fall we'll be able to resume the cannoli crawl. But it's a food history walking tour of New York City where I build a bridge between New York and Sicily, and Italian American history. It's really a lot of fun. It's a full day in New York.
I love it.
And then I do a lot of other stateside and internet gatherings where we do Sicily inspired events and etc. And like you said, lectures I do, and I have a blog every day. So every day I post something on my Experience Sicily Facebook page and Instagram, so you can learn something about Sicily every day. Okay. So Giovanna.
Yes.
How many people have said they have Sicilian heritage? Tell me.
Let's see. I think I have maybe 1, 2, maybe 2.
All right. Well,
so far.
You're looking at a picture of where my grandfather was born. This is Capo Zafferano. It's in Santa Flavia, and it is my home base when I'm in Sicily, when I'm not traveling around the island. And along with my cousin, Evelina, who is here with me in this picture, we are the two people behind Experience Sicily. So I'm here in the States, and then Evelina's in Bagheria, which is where Capo Zafferano is, Santa Flavia, and the two of us design and execute all the trips together. So there's
Okay, a little double teaming there. I like
yes.
it.
And you can see my family here,
Yes,
cousins,
big
gaggle
family.
of people from both Palermo and Bagheria. So
Mhm.
just to give you a sense of, my family there, this is a lot of them. So for my birthday a couple of years
Cute.
ago.
I love it.
So today I'm going to talk about why Sicily is spectacular, why you want to travel there, what the highlights of a tour might be, when to visit, how best to navigate the island, an ideal visit length, making your trip remarkable, and an introduction to Sicilian cuisine, of course.
Yeah, tell us about it. Tell us why do people choose Sicily to begin with?
Well, first of all, and also just a note, so if you're watching, if you go to this website, experiencesicily.com/NOIAW, which is of course a page on my website, I'm going to give you a bonus. If you sign up for our mailing list, you will get a list of my restaurant recommendations in principal cities around the island. It's a 13-page document, by the way, of restaurants. So I encourage you to go to my website before June 30th, and then you'll get this bonus for signing up on my mailing list. Okay. Anyway, so why visit Sicily? Because there are 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites there.
Okay.
Oops, I gave away the answer to one of the questions.
I love it. I love it.
Well, anyway, so I'm going to give you a little bit of background of why is it so fascinating? Well, because first of all, here's just a picture so you know where it is in terms of Italy. Obviously, it's the island off of the toe of the boot. It's in the middle of the Mediterranean, so you can see it here. And the fact that it's in the middle of the Mediterranean, it's the largest island in the Mediterranean. This was a coveted land for people. So starting when we're talking about history, going back to the 8th century BCE, so before Common Era, you have to think about Greece was a major world power. And look at how close Greece is. If you took a boat and you just wanted to go from the coastline of Greece to the coastline of Italy, it's very close. Right. So you have to imagine that Eastern Sicily has been a trading place, and it's been occupied by peoples from 1200 BC that we know of that. We're talking about 3,000 years of human history. In addition to the Greeks, the Phoenicians, who were from the coast where Lebanon, Syria, Israel is now, they were actually extraordinary mariners, and they had technology in terms of boating that other cultures did not. Okay. So they were traders. They're sort of like the Dutch of their day. Right. And they traveled across the Mediterranean. So they often were in Spain, and what we call Tunisia now is where they founded Carthage. And so they became Carthaginian. So like Brits came to North America, and we became Americans. So did the Phoenicians go to Carthage, became Carthage, or they founded Carthage, they became Carthaginian. So Sicily then became East and West. East, very Greek; West, very Carthaginian, North African. Okay, so we can see here. And so if you're looking at this, again, we're talking about ancient times, so 500 to 300 BCE, you can see the two empires and how they were dividing the Mediterranean. So this is before the Roman Empire. And I have to explain that Carthage was a very, very powerful, interesting, highly technical culture. We know very little about them because they were obliterated by the Romans. The Romans did not want you to know about Carthage, so we don't know. We don't even know how to read Phoenician, or we have a sense of it, or whatever their language was. They completely obliterated it. So that gives you a sense of how important they were. And you can see that Western Sicily, where that blue is Carthaginian, Eastern Greek. And so those two influences still today are part of what makes Sicily, Sicily. And so I'm not going to go through this list ad nauseum about what the important points are in our history, but you can see Greeks, the Phoenicians, i.e. Carthaginian, were major before the Romans came. Christianity officially started in 380 CE, which is Common Era. We had the Vandals, the Goths or Ostrogoths, the Byzantine period, which is Greek. And this is important because our ancestors probably were Greek speaking. They studied their religion once the Christianity came in was a Greek Orthodox religion. It wasn't Latin Roman. So that's important for our Italian American culture to kind of know. We have a very different foundation of our Catholicism even.
And I can only think that the cuisine must also be very different in Sicily.
Exactly.
If you've got these two mixtures and then you have the Italian base, you know, Greek and North African. Yeah, I imagine the cooking is different.
So we'll get into that for sure, because it's essential to understanding the cuisine, thinking about Greek, and it's a Mediterranean diet. So all of that's here. Okay. Arab as well. I was just going to say in 827, the Arabs came in. So that Arab influence were really sweet. They brought sugar cane and they brought the dried grapes even, and mixed all these things together, saffron. So all of that is mixed. Then you have the French Normans, and then the Spanish were in power for 400 years before in 1830 Garibaldi came and we were annexed by the northern Italian kingdom. So that gives you an idea. So again, we're going to go on a little trip here. I'm Monique. Let's go. Here I am in Palermo. So now we're looking at Sicily and looking at the geography of it. So you can get a sense. A lot of you have heard about Taormina. You've heard about Mount Etna. So this gives you a sense of where it is on the island. You can see that Syracuse is on the east, Palermo and Trapani are on the west, Agrigento is in the south. And so again, these are all, this provincial differences end up being in the cuisine and the culture of the people on the island. So how many, I gave this away already, but Sicily boasts how many UNESCO World Heritage Sites? So if you heard the answer, you can write it in. But I'm going to go through what they are, Giovanna, because this is one of the reasons that people first are attracted to Sicily. If they don't have heritage there, they are curious to know. And so I'm going to show you what the answers are. And then you're going to have another question. Which one of these am I going to show you that's not a UNESCO World Heritage Site? So here we have Agrigento, Valley of the Temples, which is Greek temples from, they started building these in 600 AD. Okay. Sorry, 600 BC. BC, there's 7 incredible temples to visit, better than what you'll find in Greece. This is the Temple of Concordia. We have the Villa Romana del Casale. Giovanna, have you ever seen this image before?
I don't think I have, but I mean, not unless I'm hanging out with my girlfriends at the pool.
At the gym, I hope, right? Because this is
very interesting, though. Tell me, what is that?
Yeah, so this is the Bikini Girls. This is from the Roman Villa Casale in Piazza Armerina. Okay. And they are competing in an athletic competition. Although we call them the Bikini Girls, they're really in Roman athletic gear. So this is the first documentation of the bikini we have, which is from the 4th century CE, Common Era, AD. So there you have it.
Who knew? Sicily, I mean, bikinis, and then I don't remember if I think somebody, I'm sure somebody will chime in. Was it the 1920s where women wore almost this huge, long leotard, one piece?
Yes, like they wore dresses and went swimming.
Yes. But we were ahead of the times.
I'd say, yes. So Sicily was ahead of its time.
Exactly.
Here we're looking at Mount Etna. And in the foreground are pistachio trees. So I'm standing in Bronte. By the way, all these photos that you're looking at, 98% of them, I took them myself. So you can get a sense of my own experience traveling there. So this is Mount Etna. It's May. It still has snow on it. It's a volcano. It's Europe's largest and most active volcano. Bronte is famous for pistachios. So here I'm showing you the pistachio trees. This is Monreale Cathedral in Palermo, outside of Palermo. Monreale is a city 5 miles south.
Looks Arabic or Moroccan or something to me. What is that?
Precisely. It is the Arab Norman patrimony of Palermo. You have a mix of the Byzantine, like I was saying, those tiles you seeing on the columns, those are Byzantine artisans. Then you have the like Alhambra, North African influence on the archways, and you have Roman, these aren't Roman because all these capitals that are on the columns are all individual. There's 228 individually designed capitals in columns here. Amazing. But you get the sense of what the Normans were doing. They were combining all these religions together and all these cultures together and made it incredible architectural style. This is another example of it in Cefalù. In the foreground of it, you'll see there's Baroque because that was added later. But in the background, there we have Christ Pantocrator, who's San Salvatore, the Savior. So that's something that you'll see in Sicily is you'll see a lot of Savior Christs, very few crucifixes actually. And you'll see a lot of Madonnas, a lot of Marys at the, because the goddess is really essential in Sicily. Here's another example of that same Arab Norman architecture. This is a secular mosaic from Roger II, the most important, my favorite king, although his grandson Frederick II could be arguably the most important, but these are all mosaic tiles you're looking at with gold, the gold behind it. This is all mosaic tiles, and it really looks Persian, right? It looks like you're from somewhere in the Middle East.
Yes.
So that's
amazing.
It's amazing. It's
you don't have to leave Sicily. You don't have to leave Italy to go to the Middle East.
No, exactly.
I love it.
Continuing on, we have the Baroque. Here's Catania. We have Ragusa Ibla, which were all rebuilt after an important earthquake that happened in 1693. Here's Siracusa, the Piazza del Duomo. So these are all the Baroque, and that's another site that you want to see is the special Baroque that was from the 18th century. Also is the, here is Pantalica, which is these tombs that you're looking at. There are 5,000 tombs cut into the limestone gorge in this part of southeastern Sicily. These are from 12,000 BCE, some of these tombs. People occupied this area for that long. So just to give you a sense of that. So here's more. Stromboli, which is one of the Aeolian Islands. The Aeolian Islands are a little archipelago, 7 islands north of, part of Sicily, north of Sicily. And Stromboli is an active volcano. Then we have Taormina. Here's Isola Bella. This is an iconic photo.
Gorgeous.
Here's the theater at Taormina. So here we go. So these are our highlights that we just went through. Which one of these is not a UNESCO World Heritage Site? Who knows? Who knows the answer?
Ooh,
Is anyone gonna tell us on the chat?
Let's see. I'm gonna guess Mount Etna, but let's see what don't have anybody yet, but let's, if you want to move on to the next slide, we can do that and come right back to it.
All right, well,
Give some people some time to answer and figure it out.
All right, well, unfortunately, I already gave you the answer. Taormina is not a World Heritage Site.
Okay.
So, but, Etna and the Aeolian Islands are considered natural sites that are part of our UNESCO patrimony. But Taormina, it's deceptive because everyone knows about it. So beautiful. The Greek theater, this Greek theater that we are looking at it's an ancient theater. The Romans actually constructed this part of it, but it is not a UNESCO heritage site. However, it is one of the highlights of Sicily. So
gorgeous. Allison, let me ask you something. If somebody wanted to tour this with you and they said, I want to hit all 7, how many days do you think you could package that in?
Well, exactly. So that's actually one of my, questions to you. So what do you like to do is, first of all, one of the things that I ask, and yes, we always mark, these are the milestones of a trip, these 7 sites. Okay. Usually, unless if you want to go to the Aeolian Islands, that has to be longer than, 2 weeks, I'd say, because it's hard to get there. You lose a day just traveling there and coming back. So, but an ideal trip, let's say, if you are going for 7-8 days, I would say pick a side of the island and then stay on the east side or the west side. And then maybe we could fit Agrigento in the midst of it, because you can't really visit Sicily for the first time without going to Valley of the Temples. You'd really be remiss if you did. Okay. 10 days is comfortable. My ideal trip is 13-14 days. So that would be my answer. If you want to see all these, definitely with the Aeolian Islands, I'd add 3 more days on top of that. But 13-14 days is a nice pace for a trip. Okay. And when to visit is a question also, and that would be do you like what kind of things do you like to do, Giovanna? Let's see.
I love to hit a beach. Of course, I love something historical. Let me learn something new that I haven't seen before, or something that I've seen on Pinterest, and I just think, oh, that's so hard to get to, but maybe if I was guided or, somebody pointed it out to me, I could go. I'd say that beach, definitely beach. And then, gosh, I don't know what else I could do. Well, hold on. I like that car. Maybe
I know, I'm sure you do, the Fiat 500. So when you were there, Giovanna, how would you travel? Would you want to drive yourself? Would you want private drivers? Would you want to go with a small group?
Ooh, okay. So last time I was in Italy, we rented a couple of cars and I enjoyed it to some extent, except when you get lost in another country.
and you have to start arguing with who's ever driving.
Right, but you can't go far. I imagine you can't, I mean, you're in an island, on an island, so you can't leave the islands. You can't go that far if you're lost.
Right. Well, so to answer both of your questions in terms of when would you go, etc., and how would you get around, for you, I would say May and June. I would definitely plan for June and into July. I love swimming also. I love boating.
Okay.
And so those are why I encourage people who like to enjoy that and go in June and July. August, I always stay away from because it's too busy. It's expensive. Of course, I have clients that go then because that's when they can go. But I always think June, July are fantastic. May is wonderful if you don't like the heat too much, but you want to get the spring flowers. September and October are beautiful. So I do a cooking and wine tour in September, which is, you know, perfect for you're doing the wine harvest during that time of year. And then October, we're doing the olive harvest. So all these things indicate, and I'll show you a little bit more about, you know, how to do it.
I do have a question. So if someone wanted to go there at Christmas, let's say Christmas break, maybe they want to catch up with relatives or find ancestors. Do you think it's still warm enough to go in Sicily at Christmas?
It's lovely at Christmas time. It's lovely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because there's also a lot of events around Christmas markets. And then there are live presepio, which, you know, we would call nativity scenes. So towns actually act out what you would, you know, the presepio that you would go visit at the Italian Cultural Center with the Neapolitan statues. They become those statue scenes.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and it's a lovely time to visit also because it's not tons of tourists. There is tourism and their hotels are open and they're really happy to receive you, but it's not overwhelming time of year in terms of tourism. So it's lovely to visit then. Okay,
good to know.
Yeah, so here's Scopello. This is a lovely place to swim. You can actually swim there. Just to give you a sense of the kinds of accommodations that we have in Sicily, you've got, you know, villas to rent that are elegant. We could stay at a vineyard. We have agriturismi, which are farmhouses. There's elegant 4- and 5-star hotels. You've got a gamut of all of them. Wow. So have we heard from anyone about, you know, where do you have?
We've got some comments on where people have come from or where they have ancestors. I believe one of them said Ragusa.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Ragusa, yes.
Let's see what else we've got. I'm going to pull up, see what else we've got in the meantime. And if you viewers, you know, you want to chime in now is a good time and tell us, you know, what part of Sicily your family is from and if you still visit or if you have ancestors from Sicily. Yeah. Go ahead and chime in. Oh, see, that's all it took is a little invitation.
Oh, sure. No doubt.
Grotte, Sicily, Carda, Francovilla, Villabate, Palermo. My gosh, Palazzo Adriano, Agrigento. I think everybody's chiming in every city there is.
Yes.
This is amazing.
Yes. Well,
oh my gosh. Who knew? Who knew we had so many viewers from Sicily?
Yes, well, you know, it was a massive migration from Sicily at the turn of the 20th century to here. So, you know, my grandparents, obviously, my father's side, were from Sicily, from Biccari and Palermo, and so I have done my own family heritage research. Obviously, I know my cousins too, but there was some family that I didn't know that last summer I dove in and I did my own heritage research and met a cousin who owns a restaurant in Porticello. So
nice. And this is your family in this picture?
This is my up on the here's my grandfather actually with my dad holding my dad. So
yours to see, her family has a really funny gene. And if you look down at the bottom, they're being a little fun at the bottom over there, the bottom three. I love it. It's so cute.
They were having a picnic. This is actually on Long Island. This picture is from when the immigrants in the U.S., you know, but I just thought it really captured the spirit of immigration and yeah. And I think my grandmother took the photo, so that's why she's not in it. But Yeah, I mean, what I love to do is actually one of the most favorite things that part of my business is helping people discover their heritage, discover the town from where their family came.
Mhm.
And my husband, Joe, he has his Italian citizenship and he got it because of the research that he did and all the documents that we collected. And so he's an incredible researcher for this. So we've been able to really do tons of research for people. And then what I do, because I have such contacts all over the island, I'm able to find a guide or find a local insider to help you meet the people in the town. You might have living relatives, etc. And so that's what we work on, creating a whole experience for you and your family, not just a visit to the town. So this is part of what makes your trip remarkable. And what I always say to people is, listen, if you're driving along the road, and I hope you don't drive actually, because you really will enjoy your trip better if you have a private driver or you're on a trip with me, for example. You know, stop the car, let the sheep pass. You will love that moment. This will be something you will totally remember. It's all, you know, of course you're going to remember seeing Monorail Cathedral, but when the sheep stop your car and you're surrounded by them and their bells are ringing, that is the kind of stuff you really, that you feel that in your heart. Like, wow.
I just feel like this is such a quintessential picture.
It is. It is completely.
School, Italy, and just Sicily. I love this picture. It's beautiful.
Well, and my friends are always laughing at me, my friends in Sicily, because they know how much I love sheep. So, you know, so you know, not only is your interaction with the sheep going to be something you'll remember, but the interaction with the local people is so vital, and that's something I really take pride and focus on, getting you those moments where you're meeting local people. That you have time to talk to Claudio in the market about his basket weaving, and maybe, you know, he'll take you into his campagna where he also is an herbalist. He grows many herbs. Talking to Angelo in the market in Syracuse, for example, you know, he's my buddy. So you learn to meet the fishmonger, and you talk to the cheesemonger, and you learn about the fava beans and how to cook them up. I recommend taking walking tours, food tours, cooking classes, go visit a winery, you know, see what it is like to cultivate olives. Go visit the cheesemaker while they're making fresh ricotta. Oh my gosh, it's incredible.
Oh, that sounds so yummy.
You know,
delicious.
So these are all kinds of things you can do to make your trip extraordinary. Live theater during May and June, which again is one of my favorite times to go, is live Greek theater. So Euripides, this is the Trojan women from last year. Euripides in the ancient Greek theater in Syracuse. It is outstanding. It's a world-class theater experience. It's in Italian, but you have, you know, you can do the in-ear English translation or read the synopsis before. These are fantastic ways to make your trip special. Here's one for you. Boat trips. Oh my goodness, boat trips, Giovanna. Swim off the boat. Look at this. Look at this water, Castellamare del Golfo. It's amazing.
It looks like a gem. It's beautiful.
It is. It's amazing. It's like, this is where I go. When I have a vacation day, I go here and I go on Mario's boat with him. So this is where I took this picture. Mario takes me around.
Allison, one of our viewers commented that people in Sicily are just so welcoming. Do you feel that every time you go?
And that's what we're talking about. It's the personal connection. They are so thrilled to talk to you about, oh, you have heritage here, or where are you from? Oh, you're from New York. Oh, I have a cousin in New York, or my son moved to New York, etc. So yes, it's always those conversations with the people and the interaction with the people there, the warmth, and they're just wonderful and hospitable.
I love it.
You know, and so look, you can see it in so many ways. Volcano experience, hiking. Swimming in swimming holes in Cava Grande, go off the beaten path to villages, go to these, you know, there's amazing modern art. This is actually a modern theater. There's incredible places to go to visit to see modern art in Sicily as well. There's incredible landscapes. You can get away from it all. Go off the beaten path. You can see these incredible panoramas. This is in the center of Sicily. We're looking at Calto di Schibetta, which is, I'm standing in Enna, the belly button of Sicily, looking at this incredible landscape of wheat fields below. There are castles. Giovanna, there's a trap door in this castle. You can see how this count would say to you, oh, you know, before dinner, why don't you go have a prayer in my little private chapel? You can pray before dinner. And then before you know it, you're landing on a bed of nails. So this
Hang
kind
on.
of
Who
stuff.
lives in that castle? Tell me who lives there.
Well,
That's
now
for
the
sale.
town of Cacamo owns the castle, but it was the Chiaronte family, and they really built it to look like this. It was really in the 15th and 14th and 15th centuries. But it is an incredible place to visit. There's actually a fantastic pizzeria restaurant in the bottom of it. But upstairs in the castle itself, you really get a sense of all those fairy tales with the ladies and the lords that you read about as a kid.
Yeah.
This is the kind of place. And they actually, they celebrate it. They're very proud of their medieval heritage here. And every year they have a big competition of, getting an outfit together. Women make these incredible dresses and they parade through the town. And it's not the only place they do that. It's throughout Sicily. They're very proud of the Norman period and their medieval heritage, so that there's festivals all over this. In fact, this is what I was going to tell you about, festivals. Look at that. So there are so many feasts and festivals. And one of the things I love to do is build your itinerary around what is going on locally in terms of the feasts and the festivals.
Okay.
So there's
Good to know.
Carnevale. Yeah, so there's St. Joseph's, there's Sant'Agata, St. Agatha, there's Easter and Good Friday, and there's just general processions for the patron saint of the town that really make your trip special.
I mean, if your name is Joseph, why not go around St. Joseph's Day?
Exactly, March 19th, right? So that's when you would go. In fact, I think, Giovanna, today might be your Saint's Day.
That's right.
Isn't it? Buono gymnastico.
Thank you.
Wow, yes. So these are the kind of things that you know about when you get to have a lot of people that you love and know in Sicily.
I know about it, but Allison, I don't know about you, but I'm still knowing about it.
Yes.
I mean, every day it's like, oh, today's patron saint day of such and such. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I can't catch up with them all, I guess. Not
Well,
yet.
and the saints are fascinating. That's something I
They're
talk a lot
fascinating.
about on my trips. But
the pottery's beautiful, by the way, Allison.
Yes.
They like really vibrant colors, don't they?
They love vibrant colors. This is they have incredible crafts. These are the marionettes, the Opera dei Pupi, which is very famous. It's fun to visit a show, to see a show. This is also UNESCO recognized heritage art form. And speaking of more art, is that there's so much incredible art there. And people say I don't like museums too much, and honestly, it is a museum itself. You're outside in a museum, but there is incredible art if you want to take the time and go to see some of the artwork. But it's really peppered throughout in small archaeological museums or in the regional museum. There's live music. There's a lot of folk music around. I'm a musician also, Giovanna. I don't know if you knew that, but
I saw that. I read that on your website.
Yes. And so I love singing with the musicians around the island. I know a lot of them just because we have a little musician tribe going on. And so music is always part of my trips and my events when I do events here. And of course, we love to shop. So there's tons of shopping. Speaking of the beautiful ceramics and the colors, there's lots of artisanal things that you can buy in Sicily.
I love the jewelry. Oh my gosh, you got me at my heart.
Okay,
Allison,
so Giovanna, where's your family from? What's your heritage, Giovanna?
We're from Puglia. My family's from Puglia.
Okay, so last week was really after your heart, but yeah. So as Italian Americans, we don't always know. We think it's just Italian, right? So you're like, oh, baba, oh, sfogliatelle, oh, cannoli, it's Italian, right?
Yes, but
did you know that cannoli are really Sicilian? They're really from Sicily. So
I did not know that. I've been learning that though, that desserts come from different parts. If you're from a certain region, then that is your dessert.
Exactly. Like I'm not going to go to Naples and eat cannoli. I'm not. I'm going to have sfogliatelle and it's got to be warm.
God, you're
because that's Neapolitan. Baba, Neapolitan. So that's when these nuances. That's you eat in the region. There's no such thing as Italian food, So, but in Sicily we have all different kind of cuisine that's influenced by the Mediterranean. Here we have pasta alla Norma, which is a really simple pasta dish. And we have, do you know couscous is Sicilian? Yes. So we have.
I did not know that was Sicilian.
Yes. And this Western Sicily, again, you're talking about that North African influence. Couscous is part of Sicilian cuisine. It's not exactly the same as what you're going to find in Morocco, for example, but it is couscous. It's based in that same, heritage from North Africa.
Sure.
We have arancini, which are the rice balls.
I love arancini.
There's scaccio, which is from Ragusa. All kinds of sheep's milk and cow's milk cheeses. We have the Sfinge di San Giuseppe.
I think I'm just gonna have to go there for a food tour, Allison.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny because my May tour last year was a totally different thing. It wasn't food, but one of the guests was like, wait, I thought this was not a food tour. I was like, well,
I love it.
Well, you eat a lot. I mean, but people always say, "Oh, what should I bring when I'm going to Sicily? What was the thing that you should do?" But to get ready for your trip. And I always say, bring an empty stomach. Come hungry.
Yes, leave room in your stomach. I believe you. I totally believe you on that. So, what is your favorite Sicilian dish?
I would say, here you have a good picture. See in the lower right corner of the screen here, that is pasta con le sarde, pasta with sardines and wild fennel and pine nuts. In terms of really Sicilian, that is, other than cannoli. Okay, cannoli is like a separate thing, but pasta con le sarde is my favorite thing to eat in Sicily. But the fresh seafood is amazing. Last week you guys were talking about how fresh the seafood is in Puglia. Well, same with Sicily. It is outstanding. Have the gambero rosso here in the picture. We have cassatedde, the marzipan sheep. So it just is endless. The food's endless. Granita. You go on and on and on. So.
Can we go back to that picture, the food picture, for 1 second?
Yes.
I just want to pause there and take it all in. I mean, I've never seen such a diverse group of foods in one picture. It looks amazing to me. I love it.
Yeah, and you have caponata too, which I didn't get to even talk about. But caponata is the consummate Sicilian dish. It's sweet and sour at the same time, which is really the theme of Sicily. Okay. You have the sweet and the sour next to each other in every part of it. The history is like that. The people are like that. And so this is. Eggplant generally is the sort of cornerstone of this dish, although it can be made with tuna, it can be made with zucchini, it can be made with peppers. But the idea is that it's the agrodolce. You take vinegar and you put sugar in it and reduce the sugar, and you get that like tangy flavoring on top of all these different onions and celery and olives and capers mixed together with tomatoes in this incredible dish.
All of it. I'll take it all. And we got a couple of viewer comments. Sharon said Sicilian food is the best. All of the best influences from all over the world. And Eileen said absolutely mouth-watering food photos.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I ate all of this stuff, so just so you know.
Hold my hand and take me there.
People say to me, how do you stay so thin? You're eating cannoli all the time. And they say, well, when I'm home in the United States, I eat salad for lunch every day and grilled chicken and tuna fish.
That's how you do it. You have to
I walk a lot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So this is just a sort of a picture to see yourself in Sicily. You can get a sense of the kind of groups I have, the size of them. So they're all different. In the lower left, we're all dressed up because we were just in the chocolate laboratory in Modica, in the Bonaiuto Modica chocolate factory. So we had to get all suited up to be in the kitchen with them.
Allison, you can do that. You can take people behind the scenes at a chocolate factory.
Yes, we can. We can do a lot of a lot of behind the scenes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. And what is the picture in the right corner? It looks like you guys are around a blue little table. Where's that?
Oh, that is in Termini Imerese, which is Palermo province. And that is our food and wine tour from last year. We had such a good time. We just went to the gelateria after we had a picnic in the forest. So we had in that morning, actually, we went to a little town called Ventimiglia di Sicilia, and we went to the butcher and we made sausage with the butcher. He had us actually filling the casings of the sausage in the butcher shop with him. Yeah, how cool. And then we ate that sausage for lunch. And
you guys are going to make your own lunch and like it.
Well, yes, exactly. And it was like some of the most delicious sausages I've ever had. And this is in the Madonie Mountains. And earlier also, before we went to the butcher, we actually were on a sheep farm where we watched them make the ricotta, and we ate the fresh ricotta right out of the cauldron as it was still warm. And then we bought a bunch of cheese from that farm, honey from that farm. They had us go out, and they were like, oh, just pick whatever tomatoes you want. And the figs over there, like the fig tree, take whatever you want. And we picked all this stuff because they were just like, yeah, take it and go on your picnic in the forest. And so, Giuseppe and Valeria, who are our hosts, along with Nino, they barbecued everything up. We just had this incredible time in the forest for lunch, and we went for a little hike. So you can see how much fun we were having. That the group we had was magnificent.
It looks amazing.
So just to give you a sense of like what tours I have, here's another castle from Salemi. I go in May. I have next year, I'm talking about May, Enchanting Sicily. I'm doing a yoga trip with Cleo Malin in July. And in fact, tomorrow I'm doing a yoga inspired Sicily event. So I'm going to talk about a little bit that. July, I do what's called Secret Sicily. We spend 10 days based in Licodia e Eubea. There's a lot of people from Brooklyn and Staten Island who are from Licodia e Eubea. It's a tiny village of 3,000 people, and we use that as a base to explore Eastern Sicily. And it's, it's life in a remote Sicilian town. You really get to know the locals during that week.
This so you immerse them.
What's that?
You immerse them completely.
Totally immersed. That's the total idea of Secret Sicily, is an immersive travel experience. Okay. Here is this September group. We had a cooking class outside at the Temple of Imera in Termini Merese. This is us cooking, getting ready to cook outside under the tree.
Amazing.
Stunning.
One of our viewers just asked, one of our viewers, Chiara, asked, when is your next yoga retreat?
Well, that's going to be July 2021. So we would have just ended on June 20th, this year, and unfortunately had to be canceled, but we've regrouped, and we're going to go next July. And tomorrow, like I said, we're going to have this event. There's information on experiencesicily.com about the 20-minute chair yoga with the Cleo, and then I'm going to talk about Demeter, the goddess Demeter, in summer. So it'll be a neat event to get your appetite whet for next year's yoga retreat. Stunning Sicily is another 13-day trip I do in October. We're looking at the windmills and the salt flats of Trapani. So this is where salt is cultivated or taken from the sea. Erice in the background, that's that mountain. There was a temple to Venus for centuries there. So I love talking about the goddesses and the saints and all of the legends. And then, when I'm home, I host a lot of special events. And so you can see what I'm doing. I moved a lot of to things that I would, love to share with you. I've moved them online. So over the next few weeks, I have more events coming, but these are this is what the schedule is like. So if you want to learn how to make cannoli from scratch, for example, July 1st, I'm going to be doing that on Zoom. And, I have all these are, different kinds of events, all different prices to participate. I'm really looking forward to the wine tasting I'm going to do online. We'll send you 2 bottles of wine, and we'll have an enologist who lives on Etna walking us through a tasting. That's going to be at the end of July. So this is all coming up.
So let me ask you this. Do you you like going to these areas that have the goddess temples? Have you done a goddess tour yet?
I did. One of the first tours I did actually was the Divine Feminine in Sicily. And I'm writing a book.
A really good hardcore girls trip.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I just started writing a book about this topic and seeing Sicily through this lens. It's really something that I love. I know a lot about. I research it. I'm really into the esoteric, what we call suppressed history of goddesses and women in history. So yes, that's on the agenda for the future, no doubt. And you always sort of get a lot of that on Enchanting Sicily, the May trip, and also Stunning Sicily, the October trip. A lot of the themes that I discussed are those themes.
That's amazing. So we're running out of time, Allison, but let me try to get a couple more viewer comments in. Do you have a couple more minutes with me?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll try to knock them out as fast as we can. One of the viewers asked, do you pass through Mazzara del Valle near the salt area, I think is what they've said.
Yes, Mazzara del Valle is in southwestern Sicily. And yes, the salt flats, Trapani, And one of the things I do, by the way, if I have a group, and that's, again, there are 12 people in few of my tours, if I know someone has heritage from Sciacca or someone has heritage in Mazzara del Vallo, I can rearrange the itinerary, you know,
Okay.
where instead of going this route, we're going to stop here and we'll have lunch in this place so that you can see the town as part of the trip. Also, oftentimes what I'll encourage people to go maybe 2 days early or stay a couple days after a tour, and I'll help them design a couple days to go with a guide to visit their town of their heritage, for example.
That's amazing. I love that. I love everything about heritage and finding your ancestors, because one way to really know where you are in life is to look how far you've come. And when I say you've come, I'm talking about, you're talking about your ancestors, how they've moved and moved and moved and jumped the pond to get to the US or wherever, and then there you are in life. So I just feel like a lot of where you are, you have to know where you came from, where your family came from. Somebody else asked, I got a couple more questions. Do you go to Barcelona?
No, I don't do Spain. I do Northern Italy. If you'd like to do part of Northern Italy before going to Sicily, for example, I do plan trips in Italy as well.
Okay.
But I'm not a travel agent. I'm a Sicily specialist. That's what I do and only what I do, essentially.
Okay. All right. And then someone asked a couple more questions. Someone asked, do you have any books out there? And do you have any other books
That I recommend?
No, your own. Have you authored any books?
So not yet. I'm working on one, like I said, about the divine feminine in Sicily, visiting Sicily through that lens. And I'm also preparing a section of my website that's going to be a paid section where you pay one fee and it's 2 years, you have a password where you can access all of my insider tips about places. So, you know, because there's so many books about Sicily that people get into the details, and travel books that are excellent that I recommend to my clients. But, you know, like I said, you can sort of get a sense of what that book's going to be like if you visit this website that's on the screen, experiencesicily.com/NOIAW. And I will send you, once you fill out that form, I'll send you my restaurant recommendations. And that gives you a sense of the knowledge I have. You know, I'm there myself. I traveled through Sicily for 15 weeks in 2019. I was there. So, and I'm traveling. I don't live there. I'm a traveler. I you know, stayed in one place for 3 weeks in the middle of stuff with my cousins I was staying. But I really make a point to do my research, sleep in the hotels, eat in the restaurants, and that's the information I'll be sharing with people on my website.
I love that you're gathering and researching all this information. Real quick, someone was just, Isabel Dovi was just clarifying Barcelona, Sicily.
Oh, Barcelona, Sicily.
Mm-hmm. Have you been there? And
no, I've heard, I haven't been there, and I heard that exists, but I'm not sure. Is that in Sicily or is it in southern Italy? I think
Sicily, I suppose. They're writing Sicily, so
I've had
might
that
be
question.
the next place you go.
I remember someone else had asked me that question in the past, and I don't know. I looked it up, and I'm not recalling what I found. Sorry.
Interesting. That's interesting. So we've run out of time, but Allison, you know, people can come find you at experiencesicily.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So all my information is here on the screen. Allison Scola at experiencesicily.com. I live with my cell phone all the time, except when I'm hiking, I might turn it off. But yes, you can find me at experiencesicily.com, and I'm on social media all over. So Twitter, I'm at Allison Scola. I have Instagram at Experience Sicily, and of course the Facebook as well.
Okay, great. And Allison, you're more than welcome to leave a comment on our NOIAW page on this live stream after we wrap up, in case you want to let anybody know how to find you. Otherwise, people can find, viewers can find Allison at experiencesicily.com. Before we go, I'd like to thank our audience for watching, and today's video will stay right here on Facebook, on our NOIAW Facebook page, and give us a couple of days and we'll put it on our NOIAW website. In case you want to share the link with any of your friends. So Allison, we really, really, really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us. So thanks so much for joining us, and maybe we can have you back another time.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to speak with you, Giovanna. I really appreciate it.
Oh, great, great. So have a great rest of the week. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.